First things first, if you just happen to, I want to start this off by saying I just finished watching. Hold on, let me start this off again. I just finished watching the Worlds Collide main show, and I'm going to tell you right now, as if you follow my channel, you know how much I love Lucha Libre. You know how much I love, like, how you like. I like to think I've talked about it enough times to kind of give you an idea as to how much I genuinely enjoy Lucha Libre. So seeing this current era of Worlds Collide just really just it made my heart smile. I ain't gonna lie, it definitely did make me like I'm losing my mind just thinking about everything that I had saw. But then Jey Uso loses the world championship to Gunther of all people, like which kind of means that him winning at Mania didn't matter. Like that's annoying to me. I go like for those who don't know, obviously, like kind of if you actually watch my other lives, then you probably might have seen. If you watch my other lives, you probably might have like actually seen how I've been covering a lot of indie shows lately and a lot of wrestlers that I've met personally in the indies and stuff like that. And the big reason why is ultimately because I like like WWE is kind of like I'm falling out of love with WWE. You know what I'm saying? Like when I say I love pro wrestling, I mean I love all of pro wrestling from WWE, AEW, PWG, one PW if it's still around, WXW, Full Impact Pro. Uh, I'm just listing off wrestling companies that I remember. Is IWA still a thing? Because I know IWA Puerto Rico is still a thing. The fact of the matter is that like I do love professional wrestling still, but WWE is still just kind of like this. It's just killing me because there's so many things that they have been doing that's just really kind of just sort of bummed me out, such as um, destroying Bianca Belair's WrestleMania streak. If I'm not mistaken, I think Bianca Belair has the second longest WrestleMania streak from her debut since she has a second. Like I don't I don't know if it's legitimate or not. So I'm speaking hyperbolic here, but just for a moment, imagine that like Bianca Belair has like the second longest WrestleMania streak in history. You know, like I mean, with the Undertaker having like over 20 wins at WrestleMania, and Bianca Belair only having five. You know what I mean? It's just like like getting Bianca Belair to lose her streaks, and like getting Jey Uso to lose his title, and like like we can't get King Gable, we can't get King Chad Gable for the King of the Ring. Look, Solo Sokoa couldn't win the Money in the Bank. I'm not saying Seth Rollins is a bad choice, but like he's already won it before. He did the greatest cash in history. How like what is like what would Seth Rollins have to do now to like as a for a cash in to like what would Seth Rollins cash in have to look like now to challenge the cash in that he did before? You know what I'm saying? It doesn't feel like Seth Rollins deserved uh, I'm not gonna say he didn't deserve it, but it's like we couldn't give it to Sokoa. We couldn't have Solo versus Jay for the world championship. We couldn't have that. We couldn't have Trinity cashing in on Bianca Belair at the following WrestleMania. We couldn't have that. It's like it really does, and it just feels like it's like it's obvious that there's a shift in WWE now. It's obvious that there is a shift. You know what I'm saying? Vince McMahon isn't there anymore, so now like a lot of people who make a lot of the big decisions at WWE is this amalgamous group called TKO now, right? So it's like it kind of makes sense that like it kind of makes sense that this is now kind of a thing, but I'm still a little bummed out because of the fact that it's like in order to like I'm at this point right now where it's like I'm kind of glad that Vince isn't in control anymore, but I'm kind of bummed out because like now it kind of sort of like now we have to find another scapegoat, and now the scapegoat is going to be TKO. Speaking of scapegoats, by the way, John Laurinaitis, am I right? Like John Laurinaitis, what's going on there? Oh man, sorry y'all. Why am I saying sorry y'all? It's only like there's like nobody in here. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's just obviously there's a lot of craziness that's been going on. And I'm just genuinely I'm falling out of love with WWE because it feels like WWE is all about moments than about like I don't know careers and stuff like that. Like they really got rid of like they really split up Lash Legend the metaphor, and it's just why what I'm saying. That could have been a thing. A lot of like we really got they really got rid of Duke Hudson. Why? You know what I'm saying? They firing all these wrestlers, but they're buying they're getting AAA, but they're firing all of these wrestlers that they already got. They're getting TNA and they firing all these wrestlers that they already got. It just doesn't feel like like for what reason? You know what I mean? It's just obnoxious to me. It just feels a little obnoxious. It feels a little annoying, and I guess part of me, like I said, I'm just speaking for myself here. But because I do watch the indies, I do kind of appreciate the fact that as like the WWE's losses, the indies gain, so to speak. But like also, I'm kind of just agitated because it does feel like WWE is just kind of it feels like there is a shift and the shift is not a good one. You know what I mean? Like and the whole R Truth thing, it kind of technically makes you think that the shift that it makes you think that that's a legitimate part of the shift a little bit because like you went from seeing R Truth who had his locks and he was a funny wrestler. Now he basically transitions into this much more serious wrestler who doesn't have locks anymore. So it's like, like it feels like there's a change in WWE, and I'm just not prepared for that change. I'm not ready for it. I don't know. Hello, Lenny. How's it going? Give me a second. There we go. Oh man, why is it doing that? Okay, that's wild. But yeah, as I said before, there's a couple of reasons why I don't. As I said before, one of the big reasons why I'm not dumping WWE, so to speak. I'm not saying WWE is like not this is a terrible show now, blah blah blah, rah rah. No, it's still a good show because it's still a good show. It's still like wrestling is. I'm always going to be a fan of wrestling in general, and WWE is a wrestling show, so I'm still going to appreciate it for what it is. I just kind of am. I'm not in tune to watch it as much anymore because like I say, like why would you cause how is Vince gone? Is Steph in charge with Triple H? Steph is gone too, from what I understand. Triple H is kind of running the show all on like Triple H is basically the on-screen guy in charge of it, but there's a lot of there's a lot of hands in there's a lot of cooks in the kitchen right now. Vince is gone because he underwent a ridiculous scandal that he is currently kind of in the process of getting. He's getting processed for as we speak. I don't really want to go into great detail as to why Vince is gone because it kind of like I don't really know the full details. I do know that it gets a little. I do know it gets a little disgusting after a while because you find out that he was committing rather illicit acts with people that wouldn't have wanted with non-consenting partners. So I'll go with that. But also Brock Lesnar might be involved and John Laurinaitis. It's a whole mess. Like the drama in WWE backstage is actually pretty ridiculous. How's it going, Mixed Maniac? Nice name, by the way. I think that's a nice name. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like going. Wow, I said all that stuff earlier, and I probably might have to say it again because I ain't gonna lie. Like I like Worlds Collide, and if you follow my channel, if you follow my channel and watch like some of my old stuff, you'll know that I'm a really big fan of lucha libre. Is there anyone in wrestling business who isn't a pervert? There's plenty of people in the wrestling business who aren't perverts. I mean, there's a lot of them. It's just you just gotta look past. Yeah, I mean, you had to look for them, but they're there. Like I like to think that I'm not one, but I'm pretty sure there's somebody out there who thinks that I'm gross. You know, but I don't go out of my way to try to be gross. But I do know that like in professional, I mean, like I feel like it's less a pro wrestling thing and more of a money thing. I feel like it's more of a people get money and people a lot of guys when they get money they want to do certain things and some of those things include just being absolutely terrible, just the worst people. So I blame money. Thanks, bro. Yeah, by the looks of the WWE, is focusing on the E, aka money grab era. My whole thing is that I don't mind that. I don't mind that. Like I don't mind there being a money grab sort of thing. But it's like Jey Uso is money. Jey Uso is money. Full letters, one word. Yeet. Jared Leto getting accused of creep stuff now with. Okay, I don't know. I didn't know anything about that. Is that legit? I didn't know anything about that. What is happening right now? Like that's crazy. Okay, yeah, like the entertainment industry is chock full of disturbingly disturbing people, and I'll just go with that. But to get back to talking about WWE, like I said, the thing that I didn't like the fact that Jey Uso lost his championship back to Gunther, completely negating his Mania win. It doesn't make any sense. I would have preferred if he had to vacate the title, maybe, and then the King of the Ring tournament is dedicated to him, dedicated to whoever wins the tournament is now champion. I kind of didn't like. I didn't want to see that. Like you want to talk about getting money. Like he's like the most over dude on the roster, one of them anyway. You know what I'm saying? Like this dude, he's doing the work. He's main event Jey Uso, and now he's like now he got a scratch to the top again. It's like what was the point of having him win the what was the point of having him win the Royal Rumble and have him beat Gunther at Mania just for him to lose the title back to Gunther on some Raw? You know, it just it's just like it's very upsetting. You know, like I said, with Jey Uso losing the championship, Bianca Belair losing her streak, and like Chad Gable losing the chance to become King of the Ring. Like I said, there's this shift. Like there's a shift in WWE, and it feels like it feels very obvious, and I'm just not really feeling it. But that's just me though. I don't know. Maybe I'm like like my whole thing is that like I'm not gonna try to push myself as some guy who knows a lot about pro wrestling. I'm not trying to push myself as a I'm not feeling it either. You understand that? And that's my whole thing is I don't think that I'm not saying that pro wrestling is I'm not saying that I am what's what I'm looking for. Like I'm not trying to say my opinion matters, but I'm just like very agitated by the fact that it's like it just doesn't feel like the show feels too different. How's Mario Jannetty doing? I feel like you're gonna have to look him up. You're gonna have to like look him up. I'm not gonna really go into too much detail with WrestleMania 41 was a disappointment to me. WrestleMania 41 was not fun to me either, honestly. The sad part is that like WrestleMania 41 has some big shoes to fill because of how epic WrestleMania 40 was. So it's like I wasn't expecting it to be epic, but I was expecting it to be good in its own way. And WrestleMania 41 was Like WrestleMania 41 wasn't even good. Didn't feel to me even good in its own way. Once again, I didn't like the fact that Bianca Belair lost her streak. I didn't like the fact that. I mean, I'm glad that EO won and basically gave Japan something for WrestleMania. But I didn't like the fact that they did it at the expense of Bianca Belair. Like, why even have her in the match? You know what I'm saying? It doesn't make any sense. But the sad part is that like the match, the 4-way for the Intercontinental Championship match was really good. I love the it was. I mean, like you have four basically WWE's future greats. Was it Travis Barker in the ring looking completely out of place? Travis Scott. It was Travis Scott, and that was not necessarily for WrestleMania 41. That was for Hulk Hogan still selling that awful beer. um, yeah, Travis. Yeah, you're talking about the with Travis Scott. You're talking about with Elimination Chamber, and yeah, he definitely did look out of place there. And I think the thing was is that like Travis Scott is actually training to be a wrestler. I forget specifically where, but uh, he is training to be a wrestler. But it's like I think the whole idea was they sort of like announced him way too early. Like he was supposed to probably like show up for. I think the whole thing was he was supposed to apparently show up for something, and they just was like no. And now they're saying maybe I don't know. Hulk Hogan's still selling that awful beer. I don't drink, so I don't know. But yeah, but the reason why I actually wanted to get on here and like talk about this for a second is because while I am kind of slowly starting to fall out of love with WWE, I'm reminded that I still like wrestling. So I kind of wanted to sort of provide some alternatives towards wrestling because of the fact that I know that WWE, like I said, WWE isn't the only wrestling company out there. There's a bunch of them. I mean, a whole slew of them, specifically on YouTube. Like for example, like there's a wrestler by the name of Alex Kane. I don't know if I ever heard of him, but he is a wrestler. He's from Major League Wrestling. Wrestling will never be what it was in the 80s/90s. So the older generation love to hate on contemporary wrestling. Yeah, like you can say that about honestly, you replace you replace wrestling in that statement with basically anything, and it's ultimately going to be the same in the same vein. It's going to be like because I mean the problem is that like some people embrace change, but more people don't. Everybody kind of has their own idea as to what everybody kind of has their own idea as to what they want and what they want to keep. And the problem is that like when everything changes, you can't keep certain things. So some people just get bitter because the thing that they want to keep and hold on to isn't there anymore. So, and I get that, you know what I'm saying? Like I would love to go back to the days of ruthless aggression era and you had like, the cruiserweights mattered more and I miss the days when the X Division title was just for like short people, you know what I'm saying? Now Moose got it of all people. But like the thing is that like when it comes to professional wrestling, like the thing that we tend to forget is that professional wrestling is an art form. It's definitely like one of those things. It's like it's going to change, but changing it doesn't damage anything because there's no right way to. Okay, I won't say that. There's no right way to present wrestling. That usually like I was actually like watching some mid south from like I was watching some mid south wrestling from the early '80s, and they actually had their. I want to say they had their. There was one show that I watched recently. Their main event was literally the second match of the show. That was their main event match. It was the second match of the show. Everything else was just filler. Still was a good show. And this was like in the 80s. It's like the fact of the matter is that like the format, like people think, oh, there's a format to how you do things. There's an order to how you do things. There's a way to go about doing things. It's not. You just do what you want and see if people like it or not. Wrestling eras, sports eras, music eras, modern films are undeniably inferior to previous output. That's a bold statement. Everybody kind of has their own perspective. Some stuff, some new stuff is going to do better than old stuff, and some old stuff is going to do better than new stuff. It's all like aesthetic, man. Like I said, I'm watching right now. I'm like in my spare time anyway. I watch Mid South Wrestling because that was my region. That would have been my region if I lived in that era. But you know, like but it's like I'm watching it and the stuff is good, but some of it put me to sleep. No lie, you know. But like I'm not gonna say old school wrestling is better than new school wrestling. And when I was much younger, I used to actually have like a bit of a. I actually used to have a bit of a low perspective on the older wrestling back in the day because I used to think, oh, they're just fat guys doing this, and it's like that's not what it was. There was a lot more going on. Like learning about Coco Samoa of all people. I learned about Coco Samoa watching Mid South, and I'm like, my new favorite wrestler, passed away though, But like you got Coco Samoa, Jesse Barr, who is Art Barr's older brother. Man, there was this other wrestler. I forgot his name, but you know, but yeah, yeah, like you got the Wild Samoans. I remember seeing them a lot. There was a wrestler by the name of Bob Roop, who was the most obnoxious wrestler you could ever encounter. Killer Khan, who was up in there for a long time. The Junkyard Dog, obviously. Like, I was watching that era of wrestling. But, like, some of those matches, like I said, some of those matches, like, a lot of them kept my attention. But, it was just, but it's just like, like, it's all aesthetic at the end of the day. Me, I like wrestling in general. So it's like, I could watch any form of wrestling and appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't like the idea of something being better or worse than something else. I'm yapping. I apologize. But yeah, I definitely recommend y'all because I am falling out of love with WWE. I would like to take this time to just sort of remind myself that I do like I still like wrestling, so I do watch, like Dog Pound Dojo in San Antonio. I watch, like Major League Wrestling. AAA is on YouTube. The NWA is still on YouTube. I'm trying to think of like some other companies that are on YouTube that I could just watch in my spare time. Because I don't know if Absolute Intense is on there, but I'm trying to think. I don't think Absolute Intense Wrestling is on YouTube. Let me check. The only reason why I even know what Absolute, hey KLD, what are your thoughts in term wokeness to dismiss everything people don't like? I don't like that. I personally don't like that because I think that I do find it a little bit annoying. Vince isn't gone till they put him in the grave. This is okay. I well, since this is a this since this is me trying to do a professional wrestling podcast, I won't really talk about the whole concept of wokeness because I don't believe in it. I feel like whenever anybody uses it, they're just scapegoating it to just basically say, I don't like this thing, but I can't give a good reason, so I'm gonna use this magic word that I just made up. So yeah, like whenever you hear the word wokeness in a form of like used in a form of criticism, I just completely like shut off because like it's very clear what they want to say, but they know that they can't say it, so that's just their way of getting around it, and I don't care. You know what I'm saying? Like, dude, if you're gonna, if say it with your chest. You know what I'm saying? Vince isn't going until they put him in a grave. I mean, I can't. I think Vince is done. I think Vince is done. I think Vince is gone. he built that company after his father died in 1984. So I have trouble believing he relinquished his power. It's like I thought that way too, but also like he did it for money. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like Vince at the end of the day is a capitalist. He's also like I don't really like I doubt that Vince McMahon cares that much about professional wrestling now. You know, especially considering what WWE is doing today with the acquisitions and working with other companies and things of that nature. I'm not saying that I don't know if Vince McMahon. I can't tell you who Vince McMahon is as a person. I don't know the guy, but like from what I gather, I got 8 people up in here and only one like. What is up with that? The thing is that like like he's rich now. He's rich. He doesn't have to do anything anymore. So it's like if like his whole thing was being isolated, being was like isolating the company and not working with other people and kind of taking people's talent and bringing it to his company and stuff of that nature. Like that was his whole thing. Now the game is changing a little bit. Obviously, it's the doors are starting to open for Vince McMahon for WWE, and I doubt that Vince McMahon would even want the company after that. You know what I'm saying? He's doing stuff. He's doing like the company is too different. You know what I'm saying? Imagine like getting your toy taken away from you and then modify it in a way that you don't like. You're not gonna want your toy back after that. And that's one thing I kind of feel like is happening with Vince. Like, but I don't know for sure because I don't know. Like I said, I don't know the guy, but it's like I do know that like there's a lot of things that he had the company do, and now the company is not doing it anymore. I think yeah, but like I think he's done. I think he's and also he got like more he got bigger problems right now. In defense of the word wokeness, to me, it can sometimes be mediocre content derivative of superior words heavy. I don't really care that much about discussing the concept of wokeness. I feel like that's like I said, whenever I hear anybody use the word wokeness in a form like, whenever I hear the word being used, I don't take anything that they say like seriously. So like, I just like I avoid anybody who's like, this stuff is terrible because of wokeness. Like I know that that person is either a bigot who just don't want to say the bigoted statement, or B just don't know why they dislike something. A lot of wrestling fans tend to do that too. It's like some wrestling fans they'll never tell you why they dislike something, but they'll say, "Oh, this thing is bad because it's bad," and that's fine. You're spitting facts right now. Thank you. Like I can tell you specifically why I don't like something. I can give you specific reasons why I don't like something in wrestling. WWE was terrible before wokeness. Oh my god! Like guys, let's like I understand that we're seeing the word wokeness. Can we just like we're not? That's not the conversation I'm trying to have here. Well, female wrestlers on the undercard was probably sneered at more years and years ago. Absolutely, they were, and obviously, like that's what I'm saying is that like WWE is a much different product than it was back then, and that's pretty obvious. But like in defense, but it's like but I do know that like wrestling fans do sometimes like to say, "Oh, this wrestling." I do know sometimes some wrestling fans like to say, "Oh, this show is bad because it's bad," and it's like, but they can't tell you why it's bad. So because they know that they can just say it's bad, and other fans would just agree with them on that term, other fans would just sort of agree with them on that and just be like, well, if this person says it's bad, then I can agree with them because I can also say it's bad. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't know. But like, well, as I was saying earlier, with for sake of my example, I can tell you why I don't like something. I can tell you specific reasons. What killed WWE was ECW and WCW closing, in my opinion. I don't think WWE is. I think I'm reading that wrong because it sounds like you're saying WWE is over, and it's not. You mean influencers like Joe Rogan? I don't, I don't, I don't know what you're referring to. But yeah, I don't like it. Sounds when you said what killed WWE, it's like WWE isn't dead. It's still around. It's bigger than it's ever been. like ECW. Like I couldn't tell you what killed WCW or ECW. I do know it was a combination of a bunch of things. But like, if there's one thing I've learned is that like no wrestling company in my lifetime has ever like shuttered is ever closed its doors because wrestling fans just said we don't want to watch this show anymore. I've never seen a wrestling company like go out of business because wrestling fans just stop watching. You know what I'm saying? But like depending on who you talk to and depending on what fan you encounter, that's their whole thing. Their whole thing is uh, the AWA. I'm not sure what you're referring to in that. Like, you're saying that the AWA gave the stop because people stopped watching, but also like if that's the case, WWE screwed up majorly with firing R-Truth, then caught Triple H lying about it. There is about to be a shift. This is not going over well. Oh, okay. The target audience of wrestling seems to be to try to cater to a very large demographic. How else did it become a $1 billion juggernaut? Lenny, I'm telling you right now, the way that you're talking, you should definitely I definitely recommend you go live because you're actually bringing up a lot of good points, and I do feel like you could also like all I'm doing right now is just sitting in front of the computer and talking. That's it. And I feel like everybody should be doing this. Every wrestling fan should have their own little podcast because like we really need to stop acting like certain wrestling fans are more important than others. We're all wrestling fans at the end of the day. You see what I'm saying? IFS get that. I right. But that's what I'm saying. My whole thing is that like, oh, for sure get that. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. But that's my whole thing is that like, you love you, keep doing this, you're gonna make it and become successful. Thank you very much. You know, like I wish I was getting a little bit more successful. I got 10 people up in here and only 2 likes. You're the only wrestling guy I'm subscribed to outside of Jim Cornette. Huh? Are you subscribed to my channel? You will be successful. Thank you. I appreciate that. I have a channel also. I support your channel 100%. Thank you. I appreciate that. I liked your vid. Thanks. Lenny, new challenge for you. Also, I definitely recommend that you make your own like little wrestling podcast thing because like I said, you're bringing up some good points, and I feel like you should also be able to bring up those points as well as I am. I watch ISA. Okay. I have subbed. I will tune into these podcasts when I can. You keep doing this. Real quick, I also go live sometimes on this channel because I want to showcase wrestlers that I've met personally that I'm pretty sure people haven't seen yet. So if you can, just check out my other lives when you got the opportunity. And like I call it showcasing wrestlers I know personally. So it's on there. Check them out. NYC Demon Diva. I have no idea who that is, but that sounds dope. So like I do want you, but like the reason I'm getting off subject here. Okay. So the big thing was is that like as I said earlier in the video, like WWE, I don't think WWE is dying. I don't think it's like becoming a. I don't think it's becoming a bad product. I just believe that it's becoming a different product that I'm just not prepared to see, because it really does feel like there's a huge shift. There's good and bad things about WWE nowadays with Vince's departure. First time coming around to you, just got recommended, and I like what you're doing here. I wish you become very successful. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Um, but yeah, like that's exactly what I was saying earlier, because I just finished watching. I'm not really a super fan of the modern wrestling though. I grew up in the early '90s to mid '90s, pre-Attitude Era. I'm limited in real knowledge. Okay, I mean, well, the fact that if you're watching, then you can only if you're watching, if you're a wrestling fan, if you're interested in wrestling, you can only like keep watching and just still kind of bring your opinion out. Like that's all being a wrestling fan is nowadays, is just having an opinion about professional wrestling. And I feel like anybody can have one. So we all need to like start talking about it more instead of just letting other fans talk for us. I think it's becoming repetitive and unfair to other wrestlers there. Repetitive in what way? Do you like AEW? I do like AEW because I like wrestling. I like all wrestling. So WWE, AEW, reality of wrestling, absolute intense wrestling, Major League Wrestling, NWA, Ring of Honor. Like if it's something, if it's wrestling, I'm gonna watch it. Because the big thing is that, like, if you actually watch my if you actually watch my older stuff, I want to be a wrestler. And that's one of the big reasons why I'm like being so devoted and being so loyal to it. But like I was saying earlier, like there are some good things about WWE, and like I'm not about to bash it or say Ivy now barely gets screen time right now, and she's better than most of the female wrestlers out there. I wouldn't say better because I don't believe in any wrestler being better than any other wrestler, but she's great. But she is really good. She's really talented, and she's also very different than what you're expecting. So it's like, yeah, they could definitely do more with her. I agree. But yeah, but I don't do that. I don't like the words better than, because like you can like something without demoralizing something else. Yeah, it's too easy to be negative. I appreciated certain wrestling styles. Is John Morrison around anymore? He had an acro. Yeah, John Morrison is in AEW. In another reality, if you could make a trade for talent between AEW and WWE, someone you want to see in WWE setting from AEW and vice versa, who would you want to see? So you're basically saying, like, if I could, like, if those wrestlers I want to see in, I mean, like, are you saying like a switch, so to speak? Like, if I could bring somebody from AEW and replace them with somebody from WWE and vice versa, like that? Uh, I I don't know. I probably would say, uh, I feel like Moxley would do pretty well, and I feel like Moxley would do pretty well in current WWE, and I will replace him with. Hmm, this is a hard one actually, because there's a lot of wrestlers. I would love to see what Roman does in AEW. That I feel like that'd be kind of cool. I feel like the honeymoon with Triple H and TKO is over, similar to how Star Wars fans love Disney Star Wars at first, but grew to hate it. Hey man, do your thing. Starting out is hard, but just keep going, and you won't be denied. I appreciate that. Thank you. Quick heads up: I have been on YouTube since 2006, but I do appreciate it all the same. I think Rock fires Triple H at some point. Rock doesn't like Triple H, going back to the wrestling days. I mean, well, probably. I'm not sure. That's not really. This is feeling less like a podcast, and it feels more like I'm just listening to you guys. But yeah, I don't really know anything about that. I can't say anything. That's not my bag. But hold on, I'm reading something real quick. I'm sorry, y'all. Coachman predicted that. Coachman, I mean, like, here's the thing: we don't know. I mean, we have to wait until it actually happens. You know what I'm saying? Like, we can't really just go off of like rumors and stuff like that. I'm glad Truth is back though. Yeah, same as that. How do you feel about Mr. Iguana? I love him. It's Zama Zenta. I don't know. I don't know who that is. Uh, but yeah, I love Mr. Iguana, but like I love Lucha Libre in general. That's actually what I was actually talking about earlier in this thing. I am a big fan of Lucha Libre. So the Worlds Collide show really had me like really excited, because like a lot of people don't know AAA, and people AAA is to Mexico what WWE is to America. So like I was all in on that. R Truth is my favorite black wrestler. How about you? I'm my favorite black wrestler. Um, uh, I mean, like I don't have a favorite anything, but there are wrestlers that I have been inspired by and wrestlers that I have greatly appreciated. What did you think of Double or Nothing? I thought this show was amazing. Hangman Osprey was one of the best matches of the year. I didn't see Double or Nothing, but I heard that match was. But you're not a wrestler, right? Well, I'm training to be one. Like I said, I'm training to be one. I'm just like not really. I'm not there yet. I wish they didn't release Jakara Jackson Digital and Dakota. They made my. Oh God, come on, man! Don't be that guy. Who are some of your favorite luchadors who haven't wrestled in major U.S. promotions? There's a like I want to say Gravity is really good. There's another luchador by the name of Legic Chamberlain. Like if you ever decide to like watch the indie wrestling, I definitely recommend checking him out. By the way, it's a long-standing question. Is Goldust? I mean, like no, but he doesn't go by Goldust anymore. He's a Dustin Rhodes. He's an AEW. You could follow his career. He posts a lot on Instagram. I think. Is it true Ric Flair is in poor health? He is in an online feud with Jim Ross. I can't answer that question. I don't know. I don't know Ric Flair or Jim Ross, so I do feel like if you ask somebody who knows them, they can answer you better than I can. I can already tell you'd have good mic promos for sure. Thank you. Anarchy in the Arena was really fun to watch too. I really wish I could have saw Anarchy in the Arena. I'm sorry for throwing some curveballs at you. It's no problem. Do you know the wrestling YouTuber Wrestle Chop named Wrestle Chop? No, I don't know a lot of. I don't follow a lot of YouTubers. Like normally, I know when I watch wrestling, I meant Gigi Dolan. God, dude, don't be that guy, okay? I get it. Female wrestlers are attractive, but like, come on, man. We're like, we're past that. You don't want to be the guy who actually. You don't want to be like with everything that's going on with female wrestlers now. You don't want to be that guy. Trust me. It's crazy out here. Yo, I'm so happy to see the ring general Gunther winning the belt again.